Hey, what's up, Shadowguns? Awall here. I'm going to teach you how to become more accurate in Shadowgun War Games. Don't look at this accuracy statistic in your profile. What you really want to care about is your KDA, your kill to death ratio. I'm currently at a 6 to a 7, so I get 6 or 7 kills for every time I die. Being more accurate is the #1 way to increase your KDA. Here are the settings I use. First things first, under graphics, I recommend auto for your FPS limit, and I recommend auto for your graphics details. MADFINGER Games is pretty good at optimizing for devices, especially iOS devices, so leave it at auto at first. If you want to crank it, be careful. You could tank your frame rate, and the less frames you have, the less opportunity you have, literally the less frames you actually have to actually aim at your targets. So be very careful in manually selecting those settings. In terms of your controls, I recommend a per weapon fire mode. Let the game tell you what it thinks is the best fire mode for that weapon first, then you can manually select it later. Aim sensitivity, I drop it down to a 15. I prefer to go low on sensitivity, then go up from there as I learn the aim and get used to that particular game. So I recommend starting low, around 15 to 20, and then going up from there as you become more comfortable with the controls. Sprint sensitivity 50, that is default. Aim smoothing, I recommend leaving that on. Now, some people don't want to leave that on, especially claw players on tablet, that's fine. I think that on your phone, when you're only using your thumbs, for example, to play, if you don't have smoothing on, you're going to be real jittery with that target, with your reticle, and a little bit of jitter on a tiny screen like this is going to decrease your accuracy significantly. Aim smoothing gets rid of that jitter, and it can help you get a smooth track on a target as they're walking across your screen. Aim acceleration, I leave it default at 50. I don't invert, and the last setting down here is vibrations. I recommend turning vibrations off. I think vibrations make you a little bit less accurate, okay? Just a tiny bit. And as far as your layout is concerned, definitely look at this at first. Your hands are gonna be different size than my hands. I moved my aim up a little bit because I have giant freaking hands. You might want to move your abilities over just a hair over here, etc., to kind of fit your hands and where you're comfortable and where you actually want to reach to do your abilities. So move them, hold it with phone with your thumb or your tablet, and then actually reach your fingers out to where you naturally would hit to do an ability, or where you would naturally want to go to shoot, and then you'll be able to know where your control should be. Cool? Great. Let's go ahead and take it into an actual gameplay, and I'm going to show you some of the tips and strategies I use to actually practice my aim deliberately. So, if you jump into games and you're just trying to win, you aren't actually focusing on aiming. You're not actually getting better at aiming necessarily. So what you need to do every single warm-up that you play, go ahead and select Slade. I'll talk about why you need to play Slade to learn aiming in the future. But go into the warm-up, go find the enemies, and then focus on aiming down sights every single game before the game. And then if you see your allies, aim down sights at your allies and practice just following them every single time. Focus on aim every warm-up to get a little bit better. I recommend using Slade as the character that you practice your aim with, because his assault rifle is the most accurate weapon in the game, and it's very high rate of fire. Also, his SMG is very high rate of fire and very accurate, so you get a really good idea of how well you're aiming, etc., right? And so I definitely recommend using Slade. Do not use Sarah, do not use Willow, do not use Jet in particular to practice aim. Their guns shoot too slow, basically, for you to get really good at learning how to aim in this game. Cool? Start out every game by switching to your SMG to move faster across the map. And when you're doing your aim practicing games, very deliberately do it. Put yourself into longer range altercations like this, where you're gonna have targets that are further away. Go behind cover as Slade, and then just practice shooting people from behind cover, aiming down sights, and just tracking targets from a distance that are further away. And just focus and think about the aim as your primary goal as you're playing the game. Don't focus on winning. Play team deathmatch and just focus on your aim. And if you focus on your aim, notice how I'm aiming down sights as my way of practicing my aim. If you just focus on your aim, you'll probably end up winning the game anyway, because you're just being more accurate and you're killing people more often than not, okay? So I'm backing up, I'm just focusing on my aim, I'm staying behind the cover, and I'm just focusing on aiming down sights and shooting people. Very simple. Then you switch to your SMG, you move to a new location, and then you aim down sights and practice tracking people. Once you get that down, then you're gonna add a little bit of a complication. Then you're gonna focus on aiming, and you're gonna move left and right while aiming, and then adjust your targeting reticle while you're moving left and right. Because in a game like this or any other first-person shooter, you don't want to be standing still while you're shooting. So what you're trying to do now is track the target while you're moving left and right with one finger. You're tracking the target with your other finger, and you're basically testing a shake and bake left and right while you're aiming your reticle down sights. That's all you're doing. Who cares if you win the game? Who cares if you lose the game? It doesn't matter. You're just focusing on aiming. And do this for at least 2 to 3 games per day, and then you can go in there and just have fun and do whatever after that, okay? But if you're thinking about practicing your aim, then you're getting better at your aim. It's just like basketball, right? If you just go out to the court and you randomly shoot shots on the court and you don't really think about anything, you'll just generally be familiar with shooting, right? But if you want to get better at free throws, what do? You take free throw after free throw after free throw after free throw, and you do a standardized thing that you're practicing over and over and over again, right? The same thing is the case for video games. The same thing is the case for something like Shadowgun War Games. I know it's just a mobile game, you know, you're just supposed to have fun, whatever. I'm not saying you take the fun out of it, but it's extremely difficult to aim on a mobile phone, especially. And it's also really difficult to aim on an iPad, to be perfectly honest. And so by very deliberately taking those free throws, follow me on the analogy here, then you'll be able to get that shot better, right? And it's not gonna happen in one session. What I notice when I'm practicing aim in a game is that, or in a particular game I'm learning, is that it takes me a couple weeks actually to start seeing big results and improvements in my aim. And what you'll do is you'll play the game, you'll go to sleep, you'll go to the game the next day, and you'll notice you're a little bit better the next day. But I notice my skills don't improve in video games until I actually play, go to sleep, don't think about whatever the game is for a while, and then I come back to the game later. And then after you go through that process of going to sleep and coming back to the game later, your brain has had time essentially to process the information, to actually, you know, get benefit from the, oh God, I gotta go, I'm gonna get killed here. To actually get benefit from the practice and the training that you did, and to actually process that and to program it into your brain. And then you can come back later and actually get the benefits from it, which is really interesting. So don't expect instant results within a particular session. If you're practicing your aim in a game and you do 3 games and then you go into playing serious after that, you're not gonna go, oh, Awall was wrong, my aim didn't improve at all, his method sucks. That's really not how it works. So that's how you do it. So you do games like this, and you know, also if you're really, really, really bad at aiming, and that's okay if you are, I'm not trying to insult you, then switch to the SMG with Slade, and then just practice hip fire with SMGs. And what you do is you just do hip fire, you don't aim down sights, and you kind of spray in the general direction of your target, and you just never look aim down sights. And that way you just practice the basic hip fire mechanics in the game, and you kind of go like this, you get up close to your target, and you just kind of go right and left and right and left, and just generally shoot at your target while you're juking. And that's another way to practice aim down, hip fire, is using his SMG. I think it's probably the best weapon in the game to practice hip fire with. And because its rate of fire is so high, its accuracy is so high, and actually the damage is pretty darn good. And another reason why I like using Slade to practice is that he's got a self-heal. And if you're ever in a pinch, just chuck a nade. That's another way to practice your aim, is aiming at a particular point on the ground with your nade. It's probably one of the easiest abilities to hit with, and so it helps you practice hitting with abilities in this game. Those are my tips. That's how I learned how to get better in the closed beta. And it's resulted to where I'm basically MVP every game. My KD is very high, and I'm getting a high level of skill with nearly every hero in this game, and you can too, but only if you deliberately practice. So that time I was just focusing on aiming, and I got a 17 KD there. Not bad, right? You can too. Subscribe to the channel, share this video with any of your friends in the Shadowgun War Games community. Give me a thumbs up and let me know in the comments below if this video actually helped you. If it did, I'll do more like this. Cool? Get in there, go shoot some people, and have a good time. Adios, Shadowguns.